Hi everyone, and welcome to your fourth maths lesson of the week. Now, as you can see with the previous three maths lessons, they were all focused on adding and subtracting fractions in all different ways. We started really simply, didn't we, by just adding fractions where the denominator is the same. That was really simple. We just add the numerators together. Then we started to look at, well, what if they're not the same? We added in an extra step, didn't we? We have to convert first until the denominators are the same, and then we add them together. And then last, what we said, well, what if they're an improper fraction or a mixed number? Well, first we had to convert them to a fraction. Then we had to make sure the denominators were the same. Then we added them together. So we started off with just one step, and then we added a second step, and then we added a third step. So we are done with that aspect now of adding and subtracting fractions. So hopefully you are able to get through those lessons and you understand that they started quite simply and they got harder and harder. So don't be disheartened if you found it more challenging as time went on. They were designed to start easy and to get harder. Now what we're going to be looking at is multiplying with fractions. This is something different, completely different. And because it's something completely different, we are going to start like we did before, nice and simply. Before we start though, over to you to do your arithmetic. Pause the video. Okay, welcome back. Excuse me, welcome back from your arithmetic. So, as always, pause the video now to check you are happy with all of this vocabulary. Okay, firstly, we're going to look at multiplying fractions. And we're going to look at multiplying as repeated addition. So, for example, we know that if we had 3 times 4, 3 lots of 4, that is the same as 4 add 4 add 4. 3 lots of 4, adding them together. The answers are the same, it is 12. Okay, so that's what I mean by repeated addition. Let's have a look at this word problem. Kyron spends a quarter of an hour weight training in the gym and then spends 3 times as long running. How long does he spend running? Okay, well, let's use this bar model to help us. Kieran spends a quarter of an hour training in the gym using weights and then 3 times as long running. So he's got 1 quarter, another quarter, 3 lots of those 1 quarter. How long does he spend running? Well, to answer that, we need to add these together. A quarter, add a quarter, add a quarter. So I can just see quite simply that I've got 1, 2, 3 quarters here. Here is just a way for you to visualize that on a number line as well. Okay, so here I've got 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters represented on the number line. That number is still less than 1, isn't it? He's not spent 1 full hour there yet doing his running. When we are multiplying a fraction, what we need to do, my apologies, what we need to do is very simply, we multiply the numerator by the whole number and the denominator stays the same. So let's have a look at that in our previous one. Here we did 1 quarter, add 1 quarter, add 1 quarter is 3 quarters. Another way that we could look at that is we could say, well, we've got 3 times a quarter, 3 lots of 1 quarter, haven't we? The denominator stays the same, and I multiply the number by the numerator. So what I'm doing now is exactly the same thing. I'm doing 5 times a seventh. So if I've got 1/7, If I've got 1/7, I want to multiply it by 5. So I multiply the numerators by each other. So the numerator by the whole number. 1 times 5 is 5. And the denominator stays the same. Now, you could think of that like this. Let me here is a pizza and it's been split into sevenths. Okay, so here is one of those sevenths. So if I had a pizza that had been split into sevenths, so each slice is equal to a seventh, and I took 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've taken 5 lots of a seventh of the pizza, and that is equal to 5/7. Okay, so there's some different ways of visualizing it, but for those of you who just want to make it nice and simple, what we're doing is we're keeping the denominator the same and we are multiplying the numerators by the whole number. Okay, so pause the video now and do these ones, please. Okay, welcome back. Let's rattle through these quite quickly because they are nice and straightforward. 1/12 multiplied by an eighth is equal to what? Well, I keep my denominator the same because it's 12, so I'm working with, that's like my unit. And then I multiply the numerator by the whole number. 1 times 8 is 8. Again, my denominator stays the same. 3 times 2, 6. Last question, denominator stays the same. 2 times 4, 8. This is nice and straightforward today so far. Here are a whole host of calculations. We can just identify that the same thing has been done over and over again. The denominators stayed the same. We've multiplied to get the new numerator. Denominators stayed the same. We've multiplied to get the new numerator. Again and again and again. What you will also notice about all of these questions is that they are just normal proper fractions that are less than 1. The numerator is less than the denominator. Okay, now that might not always be the case. For example, let's have a look at this problem. 1 cup holds 1/4 of a litre of liquid. How much liquid will 5 cups hold? So each of these cups hold 1/4 of a litre. So we are doing 1/4 add a quarter, add a quarter, add a quarter, add a quarter, add a quarter. So that would be doing it via repeated addition. Now it's quite long-winded to write out, but we could identify, okay, the denominators are the same, so they'll stay the same. And I'm doing 1, add 1 is 2, add 1 is 3, add 1 is 4, add 1 is 5. So I get the answer 5/4. To simplify that for myself, what I could just do is 1/4 multiplied by 5. What do I do? Well, the denominator stays the same. I multiply the numerator and the number. 5/4. What do you notice though about this fraction? Well, well done if you identified that this is an improper fraction this time. Now, read the question always. If it's okay to leave the answer as an improper fraction, leave it as an improper fraction. That is your job done. Tick. Next question, please. However, what you might want to do is convert it to an mixed number. You might be asked to do that, or you might want to do that for yourself. So let's have a look at how we would do one of these questions. Okay, here I have 3 times 3/4. Okay, so what do? Well, my denominator stays the same. I times my numerator by the whole number, so I've got 9/4. How do I convert from a improper fraction to a mixed number? Well, what I need to do is, it's all about taking out lots of 4/4, isn't it? Because I know that 4/4 is equal to one whole one. So how many whole ones can I take out of 9/4? Well, I could do it like this, couldn't I? I could do 9 divided by 4. It goes in 2 whole times and I've got 1/4 left. So I know that is my answer, 2 1/4. Now, what I want us to do is stop here. If you were confident and happy with this stage of the question, on this stage of the task, where all we were doing was moving the denominator over, keeping it the same, and then multiplying these two numbers, that is all you need to do in order to achieve your LO. If, however, you thought, yep, I was happy with that, and I'm also happy converting between improper fraction and mixed number, then you are going to want to do the challenge for today's independent task as well. Okay, here is the step-by-step guide that you can refer to and you can have open when you are doing your independent task. Let's look at your independent task today, shall we? It is just one long set of questions. Your learning objective for this lesson is just to be able to multiply a whole number by a fraction. That is all. Okay, so if all you want to do is keep the denominator the same, multiply the whole number by the numerator, and tell me what the denominator is, that's fine. You'll only be doing that red column that you can see there, the answer column. Okay, those of you who then want a challenge, you can then convert it. Okay, so you might want to convert it to a fraction, a simpler form, or if your answer is an improper fraction, you might want to convert it to a mixed number. If there is, if the answer is already a proper fraction, for example, question 3, 2 times 1/3 is going to give me the answer 2/3. Okay, there's nothing really for me to convert that one to. I'm not going to convert it to 0 and 2/3, and I don't want us to start getting complicated and clever with decimals and give me the answer 0.66666 or anything like that. So if the answer, like it will be for question 3, is just a proper fraction already, you don't need to convert it to anything. It's just for those ones where the answer is an improper fraction, can you convert it to a mixed number? Okay, so over to you for those questions. Remember that you do not have to do that conversion column if you are not confident with it. Off you go.